Hello and welcome to GEOSCOPE with me, Graham Hughes, and Ollie Bowler Hatman. How you doing, Ollie?
I'm all right. I hope you're ready for saving all your kisses for me.
Ha 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 ha! You're making that joke because it's been Eurovision. Yes.
I've been Bjorn again.
That's your, see what burning in that fire? That's your journalistic integrity, young man. Eurovision, indeed. We're supposed to be talking about, world-shattering political events.
Yeah, but it was Eurovision. Eurovision is technically like world-shattering.
It is. Yeah. It is. So, for those of you who weren't fully caught up over the weekend with the events at Eurovision, the whole thing turned into a little bit of what we technically call a shitfest. And the reason being, Israel were performing and it upset a lot of people that they were performing. I mean, I think a lot of the people who were complaining were mostly geography nerds who were like, that actually, Israel's not in Europe.
Yeah.
But there were also people there who were very upset about what's happening.
Australia has competed before in Eurovision.
Yes. Well, I mean, look, Israel is a European country because the people who settled there settled from Europe. Same with Australia, same with America, same with Canada, same with New Zealand. You're not going to like me saying this, but they are European countries. They speak European languages, as does everyone in Latin America. So yeah, the influence of Europe is legion. Let's put it that way. But yeah, Russia isn't allowed to compete in Eurovision because of the invasion of Ukraine, and some people felt it was a little bit hypocritical that Israel was allowed to participate, even though, shit's gone down. To put it
Not only that, they were forced to change the song as well.
Yes, because it referenced what happened on October the 7th. And
so
Eurovision is supposed to be apolitical.
Yeah. And then we got the bizarre incident, which we're still not 100% sure exactly what happened. The Netherlands contestant got, disqualified.
Yes.
And we're not sure whether he assaulted someone backstage or something else happened, but he got disqualified, and now the police are investigating.
Yes.
So we still don't know 100% what happened there, but yeah, no entry from the Netherlands this year because of that.
Yeah, there was an altercation. And yeah, I mean, look, it all things being equal, I want my singing contest to be apolitical, but it is countries competing against each other. And just like the Olympics, there's always going to be a little bit of politics that is going to come into play, isn't it? But yeah, really unfortunate. And there was something else that happened at the Eurovision which pissed me off personally, which was that they didn't allow EU flags into the arena, which they allowed last year. I know because I took one in when I went to the final last year in Liverpool. The EU flag mafia were there out in force, giving everyone a little European flag to take in. And apparently a politician tried to take in an EU flag and was told no. Sorry, it's not an EU flag, it's a European flag. Important distinction to make. It is the flag of our continent. Not necessarily just the EU. The EU adopted it as its logo as well, but it is technically the flag of the continent. I don't think any other continents have a flag. Is there a flag of Asia?
I don't think so.
No, exactly. Well, there's a flag of Australia.
I know isn't there a Caribbean flag, like a...
You mean a Caribbean flag?
Yeah, there's a Caribbean flag. I'm sure there is a Caribbean flag.
I don't know.
Just, I'm sure there's it's like a blue background and it's like little gold leaf with the globe. Or am I just imagining things?
It might be the flag of CARICOM, which is the Caribbean community.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I know I've seen something like that. Yeah.
Maybe. Duke Vengeance said, I tried to avoid Eurovision and got blasted with it. Welcome, Duke. Puninator's got an urgent question for you, Ollie.
Oh, is it? Where's my bowler hat
chat
again?
Yeah, it was. Where is your bowler hat? Dot man.
There you go.
There you go. Beautiful.
It's too warm to wear it.
It is too warm to wear a hat. Only an idiot would wear a hat in this kind of heat. I've had to open the window. I'm just hoping nothing noisy goes past. The potato comes to life, says Pete's Music. Well, I'm back home now in Durham, so I'm using the desktop PC that Phil kindly gave me because he was sick of my technical problems. Yeah, it works remarkably well. Thank you, Phil, if you're watching. But yeah, my laptop is. If you know what I mean.
God bless.
Bless.
God bless its service.
We had some great memories together. We made music together. No, we didn't actually make music. I can't do music for life. Bjorn Again were never at Eurovision. That's very true. Obviously, ABBA were, but Bjorn Again is just the cover band. There was an expectation that ABBA would put in a performance or just turn up and bow, but they didn't, which was a bit rubbish. We didn't like that. ABBA, work for your money. Although, do you know what it did do? It made me realise that I don't want to go and see the ABBA Voyage show because they showed the avatars from it and they're all uncanny valley as hell.
Oh, I'm not surprised. That technology is still not there. Even though ChatGPT did release their new AI this week, we've now got Chat version, was it 4.0? I think it is. They've been working on 3.5, but now they're 4.0. So now ChatGPT can actually speak to you, and you can speak to it.
Oh, like that episode of Black Mirror where her boyfriend dies and she brings him back to life via text messages, and then she can talk to him on the phone, and it sounds just like her boyfriend. Freaky.
We're getting there slowly, surely. Charlie is predicting the future every time.
I think about the geography of the Eurovision, and don't forget that the predecessor, is that the right word, of the EU, before it was the European Community, before it was the European Economic Community, it was the European Steel and Coal Community or something, and Algeria was part of that. So there you go. Take that, Europe. Also, on the back of the euro note is a country, well, not a country, but a territory of France in South America called French Guiana. So there's a chunk of South America on the banknotes of Europe. So yeah, Europe is it's fuzzily defined. Really. It's a man-made construct, isn't it, Europe? It's a peninsula of Asia. Let's not beat about the bush. But yeah, it's the place where all the money is. Don't tell the Brexiteers that. The chase retreat and set fire to it. Someone had a loading screen there. Yoni, I'm very sorry about that, Yoni. It must be Finnish internet, obviously.
Oh, Finnish.
Australia has participated in the Eurovision Song Contest 9 times since its debut in 2015. How's that for an EU contest? Well, it's not. It's not an EU. That's the whole thing. It's just it's organised. This is a bit like the World Series. Now, I don't know if this is apocryphal, but I was told that the World Series in America was named after the first sponsors of the series, which is the World newspaper. That might not be true. I don't know. Someone look it up. Morocco.
But one of the things I think that's good about, like, say, the European Song Contest is it does promote, togetherness.
Eurovision.
It does show that, we can
named
all...
after the channel, Eurovision.
It does show we can all get along. It shows that, we can sort of cooperate. And there is a vast swathe of culture that you never see, especially when you get to what we have seen in the past recent years, especially from like Eastern European countries, where we've got a mixture of like folk traditional music mixed with rap music, which always goes a bit bizarre.
And some ballads.
And then we get people like Lordi, who
I think
awesome. They were still the best thing that ever happened to Eurovision, I think, Lordi.
Yeah.
We need more, I think, metal, or that's what we need. We need another version of Eurovision, which is just dedicated rather than to pop, but to rock and metal. That would be true.
Well, I mean, you've got that. You got all kinds of genres of music. You always think when someone does a ballad, though, or don't stop. Just stop. You're not going to win. Don't do a ballad. Yeah. The UK entry was fucking awful. Like, honestly, mate, it was absolute dog mess.
Was it 18th did we come, I think?
Oh, 18th places. Well, yeah, that was being generous. I got Neil Poit on the public vote, and I'm not surprised. It was just Ollie Alexander. I quite liked him in It's a Sin. I don't really know Years and Years, the band, but The song wasn't memorable, and just the staging of it was just unpleasant. It looked like Saw. It looked like the movie Saw. I'm like, what is this torture porn? Why are you giving me this? I don't want to watch it. So yeah, I'm really really disappointed in that. I wanted Finland to win, which was Windows 95 man or guy or whatever it was called, and that was awesome. That was the one where he ran around the stage with no pants on, and then he was delivered a pair of underpants at the end. I actually voted for Finland because they should have won last year with Cha Cha Cha, which is the best Eurovision song in years. But it was actually won in the end by Captain Nemo, who was brilliant, actually. It was my second place choice. Non-binary, so they were my second place choice. And I also like the idea that they would really upset J.K. Rowling. So much so that she'd be wandering around today in a nightie, screaming at people wearing rainbow lanyards.
They're taking over the Eurovision.
They're taking over my beautiful Eurovision. It used to be so straight, and now look at it. Yeah.
Don't tell Esther McVeigh. She might try and ban their lanyards as well.
So if you don't know, Esther McVeigh's gone on the warpath about civil servants wearing rainbow lanyards, like lanyards, those things that go around your neck when you go into a conference or something.
I know, all in a bid to boost productivity.
You wouldn't think that we were facing like I don't know, some kind of financial crisis or anything, would you?
Oh, you'd think she'd be too busy. I mean, doesn't she have like deck chairs to rearrange?
Yeah, indeed.
Surely she's got better things to do.
Well, look, I'm glad that Captain Nemo won. I thought he was. They were the best of the bunch by a mile. And yeah, the actual show was enjoyable. I actually missed the bit where Israel came out because I went to the shop to get more beer. No regrets. But yeah, it's one of those things that shouldn't be political, but here we are on a politics channel, and we're talking about Eurovision. So let's talk about something else instead. Trump's on trial.
Yep.
Still.
Again.
Michael Cohen has taken the stage. His old fixer. God, Trump is such a mafia boss. He's such an old school, like, New York mafia boss, and Michael Cohen is his bagman, isn't he? He's the guy who just follows him around and just makes things happen.
I think he I think knows where all the skeletons are buried. He's got to know where all the skeletons are in like Trump's closet. So I'm not going to be surprised if eventually we get some like absolute like banger reveals from him at some point.
That should be good. But yeah, last week we had the Stormy Daniels testimony. It just went into far too much detail, too much information, Stormy. So much so that the plan was, I think, for the defense of Trump, they were going to say, oh, but she said too much that wasn't relevant to the case. So we want a mistrial. To which the judge said, why didn't you stop her? Why didn't you object to anything she was saying? Why didn't you? You know, we've all watched TV dramas in a courtroom, and they've gone objection, sustained or overruled or whatever they say. Right? I've seen that, and yet they didn't object to it. They said anything she said, and the judge actually had to step in at one point and said, "This is a bit much. We don't need to know this. We don't need to know the salacious details of your tryst with Donald Trump." But I have to say, the details that she spelled out made it look like a coercive encounter. Made it sound very much like that it wasn't 100% consensual, which is incredibly disturbing to normal people, not to Trump voters. They're quite cool with it. They're quite cool with Trump saying grab women by their privates. They're quite happy to hear that Trump has actually sexually assaulted a woman and been found guilty of doing that by a civil court. And it's cost him $85 million, because he said, no, she's lying. And she said, I'm not lying. I'm telling the absolute truth. And the jury agreed with her. But they think that's okay. They think that a man that they wouldn't leave in charge of their daughters is someone that can be in charge of the country.
Yep. So do you know what some of the stuff that came up from Cohen's testimony? What he said?
Go on, fill us in.
So one of the big things he's actually admitted on the stand, he told the court he actually lied for Trump to actually protect him. So he's actually admitted, I lied to protect Trump.
Yeah.
He's also said that Trump was well aware of this scheme to pay Stormy Daniels because he approved to reimburse Michael Cohen for the payment that Cohen was going to make to Stormy Daniels. So honestly, this is I think this has got him. I can't see how he gets out of this. I think he's going to have to pay a lot of money when this trial is over.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be. I don't think he's going to get much of a custodial sentence. I think he's probably going to get 3 months, and that'll be suspended or like under house arrest, and he'll continue campaigning, and he'll use this as a way of going, oh, infamy. They've all got it in for me, and make his star shine even brighter. And I am just really, really disturbed by all of the opinion polls that are coming in time and time again, showing Trump miles ahead of Biden, especially in the swing states that matter.
We did get the video of all these people leaving a Trump rally while Trump was speaking.
But that was the overflow.
Screaming out of there. So I do have a bit of hope.
I don't. I honestly, mate, I think he's going to walk it.
Close to comfort.
Don't forget, last time round, well, in 2016, they underestimated Trump considerably.
Do you think they're overestimating him this time?
No, I think they're still underestimating him. I think he'll do even better than the polls say. The reason why they underestimated him last time, there were shy Trump voters, people who didn't want to say, yes, I'm voting for this clown, because it'll make them look like clowns themselves. But this time round, everyone knows who he is. And there's no, there might be some shy Trump voters, okay. There were no shy Biden voters, no people going, oh, I better not tell anyone I'm going to vote for Biden, or they'll think I'm an idiot. Talking of idiots, is Elon Musk bankrupt yet?
Not yet.
Oh my God.
But he got the board to pass recently another section of loans for him. He gets another 10% of Tesla that he promises, like he's double promised, guys. He double Dutch promised not to sell these within the next 5 years. But meanwhile, he's just previously massively unloaded, like many of the big Tesla executives have, a lot of their Tesla stock.
Yeah.
So if you do have stock in Tesla,
sell it at the cheap rate that it is now. Like Tesla, well, at least one Tesla exec has cashed out to the tune of $50 million for their Tesla shares. If they know something we don't, I'll be selling those meme stocks right away, because that company's been overvalued now for far too long. All the car companies now making electric cars. They were first to market with electric cars on this scale. And hats off to them for doing that. And they were run by a sensible CEO who actually understood how businesses work, or manufacturing, or public relations. Then they might be in with the chance. But I just can't see it. Hey, did you hear there was a wind-up of a company yesterday? This was on the government website. That was a crypto advice company that was set up by some guy who advised people to invest in crypto, and £5 million went through his accounts and is unaccounted for apparently now, and the government shut down his business.
You mean crypto?
Yeah, dodgy dealings with crypto.
Who'd have thought?
It's like not being able to trust a drug dealer or something. I mean, come on, who doesn't trust drug dealers? That's salt of the earth. Anyway, I just want to say a big hello to everyone in the chat. So we've got Philip Crossley in there. We've got Michael Warner. We've got Vendetta. We've got Puninator, as I've mentioned, with his Where's Your Bowler Hat Man. We've got Colin, who is actually in New York. Hey, Colin in New York. How you doing? We've got David, who's in Spain. We've got Svax, who's in Ukraine, who says a little bit hypocritical. It's like a little bit with a little bit. Flag of the European Council, at least. That's Yoni from Finland correcting me there. We've also got Band of Harp Jays, hello, and Darren Zastar saying the European Broadcasting Union is an organisation anyone can join despite its name. Morocco and Algeria have participated in the past. So there you go. So it's not geographically... French Guiana is the only operational launch site for the European Space Agency, because it's really close to the equator, which is a really good place to launch rockets from. The World Series was named after a newspaper called The World, says Darian. I heard that was true, and then I heard it wasn't true, so I need to probably look it up before I say it again. Finland should always win the Eurovision Song Contest. Jez is in there. The Minister for Impotent Culture War Quangos. That's Esther McVeigh, I guess. Oh my God, they're wearing lanyards. They're wearing rainbow lanyards. They're wearing cheerfully coloured lanyards. You know, the economy hasn't grown in 17 years. There's 1 in 4 children living in poverty. 250 people die every week waiting in A&E. But, you know, pleasantly coloured lanyards, say the Tories. Grrr. Oh, Emma Price has dropped in a super chat. Sorry, Ollie. Just before I let you talk. Biden is ahead in the polls. American pundits are dismissing Trump, Iowa. Haley got 22% of the vote. He is done. Is Iowa a battleground state?
Yep. It's the battleground state, really.
Oh, is it?
It's one of the big ones, very much that, you know, whoever, I think it has gone in the past, whoever has won Iowa, I think has always gone on to win the presidency. I think it's one of those very, very important states when it comes down to it. So, yeah, Iowa, one to watch. But I was going to point out, Lefty Joe got an actual good point. We should be calling the chat our socialites. Our socialites. Yeah, so we've got our
socially conscious, socialist socialites. I like it.
That's what we should be calling our people in chat, the socialites.
Hi, socialites. How you doing? Socially aware. I love it. Okay, so yeah, digging into the one of our favourite socialites, One Angry Pagan, is saying both suspected and confirmed sabotage at musicians' factories across a number of NATO countries, and now barely a word said anywhere about it. This now possibly includes the US and UK, by the way. Have you heard about this?
Yes. This goes back to just a couple of weeks ago when we talked about, you remember when those German spies were arrested? No, well, the Russian spies in Germany were arrested.
Right, yeah, I was going to say. German spies were yes, I remember World War II very well. Like all gammon, I was there.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day. Oh, what a lovely war.
So that was one of the big things that I was sort of talking about at the time, that there were further worries that there were going to be more sort of sabotage attempts on plants, on European plants producing war materials and things like that. That does look like what Putin seems to be going forward now. There are a couple of things that are happening on that front. That is quite concerning, obviously, because if he decides to sort of ramp these up, if he decides to actually, start attacking army bases, that could certainly be a big trigger. So yeah, it's yet another very, very worrying sight, unfortunately. But it's he is right though. You do not see this come up in the news, which is really surprising, because it really surprised me when the Russian spies in Germany were arrested for attempting bomb plots on German military bases, and you're like, wait, only like 2 news outlets are picking this up. Why? That's like quite big news. Why isn't anyone else paying attention to this?
That's genuinely terrifying. Talking of genuinely terrifying, I've got a link for everyone. This is the 538 website. They're the presidential figures at the moment, and they've got Trump ahead in pretty much all of them. But Alec Barrett is throwing a super chat in, so thank you very much to Alec. Trump's poll rating formed the same way as Reform UK. No, because Reform UK's poll rating, I mean, they're not going to win any seats because they're only getting 15% of the poll. Like, Trump is getting consistently more of the vote in a 2-horse race than Biden across the board. And it's incredibly concerning. And I'm a bit worried that the liberals, of course, the liberals are always like this, but the liberals in America are just, yeah, it's all right. They don't seem to be like freaking out about it.
Belief that like the courts are going to somehow get him and stop him from running, and I'm like, it takes more than that, But I will say this: I've seen a lot of stuff from like the Majority Report, and what they've been saying about this, that the Republicans aren't actually going out to canvass for him, that there's no ground teams willing to do that for him. He's scared off a lot of their support. So a lot of this stuff might actually be very, very much astroturf. But I can't see him. I don't think he's going to win. But it's very worrying still about the fact that he's there. more to the
Well,
point.
that he's doing so bloody well when people know that he's a rapist. They know
Did you?
he's a bad man. They know he's committed crimes, and yet they don't care, and they're voting for him anyway. And honestly, it scares me more than anything. I mean, even if he wasn't winning, he was just doing all right. But he is the official nominee for the most important, powerful role in the world, the most important, most powerful
Yep.
job in the world. He is one of two people who can get it. What the hell is going on?
Really worrying. It's just really worrying. I'll keep on saying it. November's a long time to hold your breath. A very long time.
Well, indeed.
Did you see the stuff about his kid Bannon Trump?
He was going to get involved, wasn't he? And then they were like, no.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't get involved.
No.
Well, apparently that was Melina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's apparently been very, very defensive on him. She's kept him very much out of the limelight as much as possible, and she's apparently been the one who said, "No, don't run."
Okay.
There's been a lot of speculation for a number of years that she signed some sort of prenup that she would agree to be with him for so long because after he won the presidency. So there was these rumors that he was going to sort of get divorced, and then he did this whole presidential run thing, and then he won. And
turn white. Sorry about
that.
Never mess with the settings while you're going out live. Anyway, okay, I'm still here. It's all right. So we go on. So you think that there was a deal that was done with?
Yes, that has been the rumor that has been flying around for a while, that Melina did a deal with him that she would be with him for so long, and she signed a thing thinking that he would never win the presidency in a month of Sundays, but he ended up winning. But there's still that rumor going around that is still
but she would have left him by now, then?
Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But it's been a persistent rumor.
Yeah, but why would she not have left him by now then?
Probably the money.
The jukebox.
There's probably a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
And she probably just wants the money. But I honestly, I couldn't tell you, but it's been one of the consistent rumors that's been around there since even before he actually won the presidency, since he started running. But who knows? Yeah. Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe
one day.
Maybe. Right. We're going to move on now. Alec Barrett, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Trump has no campaign infrastructure, no boots on the ground. My argument is he doesn't need it. He's on the news every single night. And people who don't care about politics don't vote for someone's personality or their policies. They vote for the person that they've heard of. That's it. Or are more aware of than the other person. And there are millions of people out there who don't really care about politics, who will just put an X next to Trump's name or stamp the page or whatever you do in America, because the familiarity. They see him on the news every night, so he must be doing something. He must be upsetting the libs, which is what some people live for. Yoni says €2 super chat. Thank you very much, and says somewhat ironically, Trump's presidential campaign is give me money. I would never say that, but thank you very much for the super chat. P.S. Give me money.
I mean, ironically, I would love to get a pair of those Trump sneakers. Ironically, I would love to get a pair of Trump sneakers. Maybe try and hunt them down in a couple of years or two time. We could buy them for £1 and then say, look, I got a pair of Trump sneakers.
If you could buy them for £1, that would be quite cool. But yeah, so should we move on to Georgia?
Yep.
The country, not the state. So, in Georgia, a minority government's taken over, and it appears that they are Putinist. So, they're pursuing a Putinist agenda, which has meant they're bringing in an act which is quite authoritarian and looking
Foreign
into
Agents Act.
Yeah, any NGOs or charities that are operating in Georgia to see if they're being used by foreign agents. And as a result of which, they are now hosing down protesters in Tbilisi, the capital. Don't forget as well, Russia, who's now interfering in Georgian politics, is the country that invaded and annexed 1/3 of the entire country of Georgia back in 2008.
Yep. And this is also the very, very similar act that Putin wanted Ukraine to implement as well. So right now, what you're seeing happening in Georgia, pretty much
Yeah.
almost a massive revolution. You've got the deputy prime minister saying that if this act does come into to her desk to sign into law, she's not going to sign it. She's going to refuse to sign it. So that will create a constitutional crisis. That'll certainly cause a lot of problems in Georgia itself if it gets to that stage.
Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
continuing pressure of these protests. There's now a general strike trying to be organized. That's going to have a massive impact because that'll just bring out even more people on the streets. And compared to last time, now is probably the best time to do it because here's the thing: last time this happened, Russia, well, that particular government called on Russia to sort of bring in the troops to deal with the protest, and this time there are no troops because everything's in Ukraine. So now is probably the best time to do it. But this does bring about a very worrying scenario because we've talked about what if Russia sort of quote again big quotation marks wins in Ukraine. I've said before I think they're going to go into Moldova, deal with the whole Transnistria situation. But Georgia is yet another potential viable target for them. Like I say, they've done it before. Was it Tbilisi, the area is called?
The capital.
That they annexed in Georgia?
No, Tbilisi is the capital. It was South
Oh, yeah,
Ossetia and
Tbilisi,
Abkhazia that they annexed to. I mean, North Ossetia is in Russia, but South Ossetia was split because it was predominantly Georgian. And obviously, with the fall of the Soviet Union, it broke up into 15 states, and it appears the borders of those states are a little bit, I don't know, porous when it comes to Russia's imperialistic ambitions, and it wants them back. It wants them back. That's why it's interfered in the governments of Georgia, Ukraine, Belarus, quite obviously, Moldova. Also, I mean, tremendous amounts of influence in Kazakhstan and the Central Asian countries like Turkmenistan and Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. I mean, Uzbekistan still is run a lot like Soviet Republic in a lot of ways. The police want to know what you're doing at all times.
Yep. I mean, that's one thing I think we talked about this when this war kicked off. Putin was expecting Uzbekistan to support him and send in troops because Putin had done that to prop up their government when they'd had a bit of a coup situation. They went, no, we're not going to get involved. No, thank you. So if it all kicks off again in places like, Uzbekistan, we saw the situation with Armenia and Azerbaijan that had security agreements with Russia. Russia did absolutely nothing, even though Russian troops got killed and shelled by Azerbaijan. They did absolutely nothing. Everything is just in Russia. Not in Russia. Everything is just on the line in Ukraine, and you saw that in the Victory Day parade
when there was one tank.
Yeah, one tank.
Yeah. But this is
they probably had to scrap that fleet for parts.
No, I think it was taken from a museum. I think they took it from an old war museum. Pudinator, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Theory: Putin's side is holding out until the USA election for a Trump-shaped ally. If Biden wins, I think next year he'll be met by his successor. Very true. Very true. I think he's definitely.
I think it's Prigozhin has said on Russian state TV that they're sort of prepared to fight till 2025.
He's dead now, isn't he?
Oh, not Prigozhin.
The guy who's just been.
He's a big figure on Russian TV. It's not Shoigu. He's the defense minister. Was the defense minister, shall we say?
I was going to say, was it Shoigu? Wasn't Tucker Carlson? Was it?
No, it's not Tucker Carlson. Although he interviewed another Russian fascist recently. So,
did he? Oh, that's nice. Oh, it's always nice for the Russian fascists to get a bit of airtime.
Yeah, openly advocated for the complete and absolute brutal occupation of Ukraine.
Oh, nice.
So perfectly nice fellow for Tucker Carlson to interview.
Yeah, understood.
So yeah, this is I do think that this is probably, if Georgia's going to try and expel Russian influence at the moment, I think this is probably their best time to do it because Russia's too busy to really honestly to do anything about it. Because if it
Well,
does get to a stage where they actually, you know, at the stage of turfing these guys out, where they go full revolution,
yeah.
Russia doesn't have anything to send because it's all in Ukraine. And
Well,
if they
here,
do have to pull troops away to
yeah.
solve that situation to help out that Georgian pro-Russian government, then at the end of the day, that sort of helps Ukraine in a bit as a way as well. So
Yeah.
it's sort of a win-win situation for the both of them, because
Y-
either
y-
way, they'll probably have the best chance right now to get rid of any Russian sort of influence in their country. So, good luck to them.
Well, that's the hope. Yoni is saying in the chat, Ramzan Kadyrov, is that who they were talking to? I thought
Kadyrov, no, I think Kadyrov is the
he's the Chechen leader, isn't he? Who's
that's
the
the yeah, that's the Chechen dude.
Is
If
he the
he
one who?
dies, because he isn't looking very well either. I think we mentioned this last week. He isn't looking well at all
Can we have a
for
party
his.
if he dies?
No, if
It's
he
the guy who
dies,
puts gay people in camps and cures them. Actually, doesn't
if he
cure them,
dies,
possibly
Chechnya could go a bit wacky, shall we say? Which would be the worst thing. Well, shall we say the best thing to happen for Putin?
Couldn't happen to a nicer Putin.
Exactly.
Chechnya was agitating for independence in the 90s. Obviously, it did get it actually got independence for a little bit in about 1995, I think. But then Russia took it back under the fold. There's other places that could be breakaway republics of Russia, including Dagestan. And these places are generally not that Muscovite. Maybe we should, instead of using the word Russian, maybe we should use the word Muscovites. Because everything's controlled from Moscow. It's all controlled from the Kremlin and the Duma and whoever happens to be the leader at the time, be it Stalin or Brezhnev or in fact, Vladimir Putin, who's been in charge of the country for 24 years.
Yeah, it might have been Medvedev. It might have been Medvedev that had done it, because he regularly appears on Russian TV and does this whole sort of drunk act. Like,
nice.
Drunkard does his entire TV show completely blind drunk sometimes, but he's one of Putin's big inner circle people as well, and that's what he said. They're prepared to fight till 2025. After that, don't know what could happen after that. So
do you know what I think we should have? We should have on YouTube as an idea. If someone leaves like the best message, I think we should be able to give them a super chat. Because I'd like to just donate £5 to Jez Hunt for writing. Just think, we'll probably get to see Murdoch, Trump, and Putin kick the bucket within the next decade. There's a happy thought.
Yeah.
Thank you. I needed that. I needed that.
I mean, look at this way. I think what will happen to Putin is, he'll end up just like, Prigozhin accidentally playing with a grenade. on a flight,
Fingers crossed.
He was playing with a grenade on his flight, and he just went off.
It just went off. I was playing catch with the grenade at the pin out, and just bang all of a sudden.
That was the other thing as well that happened in the Victory Day parade. They faked the flyover.
Oh, was it AI or something? CGI?
Yes, they used footage of the flyover that they used for the practice the day before.
Oh, seriously? Oh, that's embarrassing. My God. Anyway, do you want to talk about international students?
Yes.
Go on then.
I think this is kind of important because UK universities rely, for their majority of their income, have been from foreign students. If you knew anyone at university who was a foreign student who came, outside the UK to study, and you asked them, how much are you paying for your tuition fees? They were probably paying double, if not maybe more than that in some cases, depending on which university you were attending.
Yeah.
It was absolutely huge. And obviously with Brexit now, with the whole Conservatives going after universities in some cases, they've had to sort of rely ever more on trying to attract foreign students, which is becoming increasingly difficult, especially from Europe. China in particular has also become a significant problem now, because just a couple of days ago, we found it out that some Chinese students actually are spies being sent to UK universities to spy on technology and steal technology from universities.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's now a thing.
But also, I mean, this is the doing of the Tories. So Labour in 1997, when they were getting elected, they said we're not going to bring in tuition fees, and then they brought in tuition fees almost instantaneously after being elected. And at first, they were just £1,000 a year paid from 1998. So anyone who started university in 1998 or later, who hadn't deferred for a year, had to pay £1,000 a year towards their tuition fees. And we were told point blank that they would definitely not rise, they would definitely not go up. And then in the 2001 elections, Labour said they will not go up. And then a few months after the 2001 elections, they went up to £3,000. And then gradually they went up to about 10 grand, where they have been for the last several years. At the same time, the government has cut the amount of funding that comes from the public purse to universities, meaning that for every British student these universities take, they actually lose money. And it's why universities have been taking so many foreign students, because they can fleece them for the cost of their course, but also add a bit extra for, shit and giggles. And essentially, those foreign students are subsidising the British students going to university. Some might say, fair enough to that.
Doubly so for Scotland as well.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
There are no tuition fees in Scotland.
Yeah.
But the government, in their infinite wisdom, has said, we don't like these foreigners coming over here, and are trying to cut down the numbers of foreign students coming to the UK. But also, and this is the really mad thing, they're trying to send them home as soon as their course is finished. So they include students in the migration figures for some reason, even though they're not immigrants, they're just here for a few years studying.
Yeah.
But, once they've got the qualification, do you know what's really good for Britain, the workforce, the economy? Having graduates who are good at shit, doing it.
I think this is just the absolute most short-sighted decision you could ever make. Because why would you want someone from a foreign country to come here, do all that learning, learn the skills, get all that knowledge, and then leave?
Yeah.
Just why?
Yeah.
You should, if you come to the UK and you do a course, and I don't know, maybe if you wanted to sort of, I don't know, please people, maybe you could say that, I don't know, you've got to get at least maybe like a first or like a 1-2, I think it is, the next one down from that. Maybe
a
that
2-1, a 2-1, not a 1-2. 1-2 is what you say when you tested a microphone. It's a 2-1, but it's a second class second class first level, and then there's a 2-1 and a 2-2, and then a third.
So maybe you could say that like the highest scoring, get that. I don't know, but I think regardless if you come here, you want to come here to university, I think you should just get it straight away, because you staying here, you putting your knowledge to work here is going to be good for the economy, and doing that it's just so short-sighted. It's a massive blow to so many potential inventions, companies, and all kinds of stuff that that could be pop up from these students.
And not just that, we've just had a super chat from Yoni pointing out 240 million net income annually for UK universities was because of being part of Erasmus. Which we left for no reason. You don't have to be part of the EU to be part of Erasmus. Although we've gone back into Horizon, so one step at a time. Also,
that was the big push after that. After that announcement. So who knows? Maybe we'll, maybe we won't, but I hope we do. So
we got some good comments coming in. We've got Benjamin saying 5 out of 6 people agree Russian roulette is safe, which is true. We've got Vendetta pointing out that 10 years is too long for all of them left to live. Well, I don't think that Murdoch's going to last that long. He's 93, and although he does drink the blood of unicorns to keep him alive, doesn't he? So you never know. Svax says, Graham, yes, historically, Muscovy decided to usurp a name for the whole region. It's kind of like Sweden changing its name to Scandinavia and then claiming land of all of their neighbours. Very good point. Or England claiming to be Britain.
Yep.
Anyway,
remember the 1600s where Sweden was a superpower.
Them were the days. Peter the Great on his grand embassy around Europe. Great days.
Oh no, that was Russia.
Yeah, nobody.
No,
he went to war. He went to war
Gustav.
with Sweden.
Oh, Gustav Adolphus, I believe it was, the big Swedish king, and his descendants. I believe my Swedish history fails me on that front.
But now you wouldn't want to call anyone Adolf, would you? It's one of those names that no one calls their kids anymore, like Alexa, for obvious reasons. Similar reasons, actually.
You didn't set it off.
Alexa, buy a copy of Man of the World by Graham Hughes. Thank you. Yes! I made a sale. It's £26.18. £26? Alexa, fuck off.
Yeah, it's trying to buy coffee.
Coffee! Oh my God.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that.
I've probably got some coffee now coming from Amazon.
Whoopsies. All right, okay, we go on to our final story. We've got 10 minutes left before everyone is shunted over to Maximilian's channel. We've got Judge George, thank you very much. Brexit is what I call anti-intelligent. Indeed. And it's anti being clever, isn't it? It's a triumph for the dickheads, really. But let's not go on to that too much. Let's talk a little bit about the situation in Argentina. So, yes. You know, Mr. Javier Melei, who is in charge of the country.
A.K.A. ANCAP man, the world's worst ANCAP. Superhero.
The anarcho-capitalist man. So he's been pleasuring the IMF for the Chicago School of Disaster Economics. That is the IMF. They've been very happy with his crackdowns on unions and rights and people having food. And they've said, we're going to give you 800 million or billion?
I'd say 792 million.
Is that all?
Yeah, but it's been paid in installments. So because he's been doing all these, honestly, the best way to describe it is like mega austerity. You think you've seen austerity? Well, you haven't seen mega austerity.
Do you know what? I tried to bring up the article that I had about this on the Financial Times just a second ago, but because I've gone back to the same article, it says I've got the paywall now. So you continue on telling the viewers at home what's been happening in Argentina. This guy's been a disaster. He's been an absolute monster, which he said he was going to be. People voted for him anyway. He's now in charge. Lots of civil unrest. But the IMF seem to be fairly happy with him. But they're kind of... what they're doing now, they're going to give him 800 million, and then they're just going to keep their powder dry, or what's happening? Yeah,
this is it, because there's a couple of things going on. Sort of when you look at this, when I sort of looked at this initially, there's like IMF saying, well, actually, we really like what Melei has done with like all these austerity measures, trying to sort of, bring, Argentina back into some sort of quote economic realignment, because they haven't been really happy with the last lot of governments Argentina had, because they were a lot more socialist, doing things that they didn't like. Milei's come along and he's done mega austerity. And mega austerity has gone even further and farther than even the IMF would like them to do. So when even the IMF is a bit like, we said, do some austerity, but we didn't mean that much austerity.
That's like a Nazi saying, "Oh, you got a bit far there."
Yeah, this is the fact that this is the IMF saying this is a bit. It's a bit weird. So Argentina at the moment, its inflation rate. Bear in mind, when Melei took over, it was just roughly about, I think, 75% inflation. That's where they were. So Argentina was in a bit of a bad situation when it came to that. Melei comes in, brings in all these, crazy super libertarian powers, vastly shrinking the size of the government, selling off all public assets, deflationizing the peso, trying to dollarize it. Inflation now in Argentina is now 287%.
Wowzers.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what though? Can I just talk about Argentina for a bit? Because at the turn of the 20th century, Argentina was the richest country on earth. Like, it had everything going for it. And the reason why it's in the shit that it's in today is because of a succession of terrible governments from both sides. And Milei is just the latest incarnation of terrible leaders taking over Argentina, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah,
yeah, I've said I do not know honestly how long he's going to last as a president, because you've got everyone's striking, going up against him. The situation is just getting worse and worse and worse. Like, yeah, we think we're in a cost of living crisis. Well, if an Argentinian came over here, they'd be like, wow, the price of food here is so cheap.
Yeah.
Because, in Argentina, you had the situation at the start of this. I don't know if you remember me telling you about this, where the shops could not keep up with the price of inflation.
Yeah.
So their electronic systems, where they're scanning food through, was just getting more and more expensive. So it caused this massive chaos at supermarkets, because they couldn't keep up with just how rapidly inflation was going and affecting all the food prices.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one thing after another in Argentina, and I don't know how he survives. He's going to he's gonna realize, the government's gonna realize, okay, enough is enough of this crazy guy. We're gonna get rid of him, or the Argentinian military will just coup him and say, right, we're starting again. Here's
you've been cooed.
New elections. I honestly don't see him lasting.
Have a new TV show with Harry Hill.
In Argentina.
New TV show with Harry Hill called "You've Been Cooed."
Yeah,
just comedy footage. It's comedy footage of despots losing their. Well, not even despots, just people getting toppled from their position of power.
The thing is, I can just imagine it now with like the voice of Harry Hill. Say, oh, there's someone else thrown out the window. Oh,
well,
look,
there's only one thing for it. Fight, and they actually do. Sorry, the cat is asking, Alexa, will Trump go to jail? I'm getting in trouble for saying Alexa because people are saying that Alexa's telling them what the weather's like and it's ordering things off the internet. This is why nobody calls their child Alexa anymore. Chainsaw Charlie in Argentina says to Larry the cat. That sounds about right. And we're getting corrected on our history. So apparently it was, I've lost it. Someone was telling us who it actually was in Sweden at the time, fighting Peter the Great in the Great Northern War. It was Charles the 12th of Sweden, Ollie. So there you go. So now you know, Charlie 12. And then we've also got Benjamin saying, isn't there a creationist museum next to the place where dinosaur footprint fossilized in a limestone riverbed? Yes, there is a creationist museum in America. Isn't it like the Ark? They've got the Ark.
Oh, yeah, the Ark. And I think they've got another one as well. But yeah,
which has to be the size of the Sahara Desert to fit two of every single animal on the planet on there. But whatever. David says the Peronists make the Tories look clean. That's a huge part of his popularity. He's nuts but clean. But the same with Trump back in the day. I mean, it was something different. Now he's not. It's more of the same. But he's more popular than ever. And yeah, he's not. Trump, just to finish on Trump, just to mention it. I mean, this trial's not going well for him. However, he is backed by every billionaire in America, bar Taylor Swift. He's backed by the Supreme Court, who will do his bidding. He's got judges like Aileen Cannon. There are hundreds of judges all around America, maybe thousands, that were put in place by Trump and his people. And so they owe their allegiance, their Wookiee life debt to Trump. And he likes to call on that debt every Friday night after he's had a couple of drinks, just like Han Solo, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Christopher Bowl says, so coup in Argentina so FIFA can stage a 2030 World Cup game in a controversy like in 1978. Well, what do you mean like in 1970? Like they did in 2022 when they staged it in bloody Qatar. And like they're going to do in, is it 2036? They're giving it to Saudi Arabia, who just got in trouble for doing something that we found out about ages ago. This is to do with the line. This was a building project in Saudi Arabia. It was supposed to be 100 miles long, and it was like 1 mile wide, and it was this line through the desert, and everyone was going to live half a mile up, and and they were going to have like a super fast railway system that went up and down that obviously there would be no problems with ever, and everything would work perfectly. And it seemed like such a great idea. Instead of having like a center and then like, conduits going out from the center, like a spider web, like they didn't think, no, that's not very efficient. What we want is a line. Because if you need to get from one end to the other and you need to stop like 57 times on the way, that's a great way of doing things. Anyway, so they this mad project backed by British gobshites, architects, also aka architects, and engineers who were like, yeah, this sounds great. Meanwhile, the Saudis were literally murdering people who were in the way of their stupid mega project that they're now quietly abandoned 99% of. Yeah, nice.
That doesn't surprise me.
So there you go. That's a bit of good news from Saudi Arabia. Their evil, their wacky mega project in the desert that was never going to work. Their monorail, their Simpsons monorail, just on a much bigger scale, and people actually died as a result. I always think of Ceausescu in Romania, where he built the biggest building in the world. Is in Bucharest.
Well, that's something else Melei has done. He's frozen all public works projects as well.
Oh,
and again, an attempt to save money. He's just gone, right, all public works project on hold.
Does he still live in a palace, though? Does he still live in a...
Oh, probably. Doesn't surprise me.
Yodi says monorail, except make it a city. Checks out. Yeah, indeed. Right, well, it's 8:30. Is there anything else we need to say before we go? Have I missed any stories?
No, the corruption trial in Japan still on rolling, so we might get some more news about that probably next week.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there then. We're going to leave you in the capable hands of Maximilian. You stay tuned to this channel. You will automatically be redirected at the end of the credits. So please hang around for that. I'll say a huge thank you to Ollie for donating his time and expertise to talk about what's going on in the world. And everyone, all of our wonderful...
Thank you. We'll all say thank you to Graham as well.
You're very welcome.
I'm trying to work out the camera logistics.
I'm here. You want to go down to me, I think. Okay. And you're like here for me. Thank you very much to the socialites in our chat. Wonderful socialites. Thanks for the super chats as well. Don't forget to give us a like on the way out. I will be back in the morning at 9:30 for Morning Brew, and also at 12 o'clock. Well, actually, I'm going to start it a little bit early tomorrow. I'm going to start it at 11:55 p.m. Qs because there's likely to be a defection. So we're on defection watch tomorrow at PM Qs. Possibly Caroline Noakes. We don't know. It's possible. Anything's possible. But hopefully we'll see you there. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and
tell Max we said hello.
Tell Max we said hello. Hey, bye.
Bye.